Hello everyone, welcome to a patch analysis video here for our latest patch on version 4.13.0, and this one went live on Tuesday, November 26th, which was actually a couple of days ago as I'm recording this video. So I have gotten a chance to play a few matches on this patch, but of course I haven't been able to test everything so far, but I would like to give my thoughts on the changes and also what I have been able to see so far. So without further ado, let's start the video here. For Forest of Kaldivar, we're gonna start with towers having the damage on all of their tiers reduced by 0.1. What does this mean? It's an effective damage reduction of 25%. So I'm not gonna read through all of this, but basically the gist here is that they want to make the laning phase feel a little bit longer and put more emphasis on defending towers. And from what from playing so far, I have noticed that even though the number looks small, it is very significant when you're actually trying to push a tower. It takes a lot more time and effort into bringing them down. So towers overall have gotten a lot more durable, which I think is a very interesting change moving forward. We'll have to wait and see how that ends up shaping the metagame some more. Our first big category here is going to be items. So we're going to go over some new items as well as many changes here. The first one is a new item called Abyssal Flower. So this is basically a build-up item into Hellflower, so you can get a inexpensive, weaker version of Hellflower earlier by only having 2 of the Arcanas picked up. And what you get with that is you get a 3-second silence, still leaves the visible trail, but it's not going to give the perplex like Hellflower. This is going to be like it says here, a mid-game silence option. While you're working towards your Hellflower, this could be picked up on supports or even the cores that want the Hellflower eventually. So this is a cool addition to the game. I haven't gotten to try this one out yet, so I don't know how it feels, but pretty cool having a new item as a build-up for Hellflower. Bound Die no longer reveals gadgets. Okay, this is kind of like, I would say this is kind of a micro change, but prevents a bug for Geomancer. Okay, I'm gonna talk too much about that. Next one here is Abyssal Skull. So it's getting a cost reduction is the big thing here. It's 350 gold cheaper, so you can get it earlier. But it's also going to give lifesteal to ranged heroes now, 10%. That is huge. That makes this item a lot more viable in terms of like what it's offering. It's still most likely going to be the same heroes picking it up. But we might have to talk about that later when we get into another item, which you guys might remember from when the 5.0 patch dropped many months ago. But we'll save that for when the time comes. It's getting a little bump up to the mana regen here. So overall, the item's getting a bit stronger, more utility, and cheaper cost. So hopefully we'll see that item a lot more. Amulet of Exile. It's getting a little niche buff here. You get 3 mana back when you kill an enemy unit or deny. Little nice buff to laning phase. Makes these standalone items a little bit more powerful. Next one is a pretty big change, I would say. Assassin Shroud. It's getting a little bit of tiny nerfs here to damage and the on-hit crit. But the big one here is it's getting a cost reduction of 600 gold on the recipe. So the note here is this will incentivize an earlier pickup as opposed to a completed Genjuro. So most of the time we never see Shroud picked up. It's mostly on like very select few heroes. So with this change, making it a lot cheaper, the hope here is that more heroes will be picking up this item more frequently, which I think is a pretty good change actually, because this is not an item that we normally see a lot of. It's mostly, like it says here, just people right-click it into a full Genjuro in late game. So we'll see how that affects the meta. The next one here is Astrolabe, getting a cost reduction, but this is due to a later change we're going to see for Refreshing Ornament. So Nothing really to talk about there. It's gonna basically be the same, except it will grant 1 magic armor, which is due to bracer change, which we will talk about in a second. Brutalizer. The overall concept here is small nerfs, and the cost will go up by 200 gold. So it was a bit too efficient. So Brutalizer was very cheap at 2850. Now it's going to be 3050 with a little bit less bonuses. Perfectly fine with that. Next one here is Dreamcatcher. Okay, so it's getting a cost reduction of 800 gold, and it has a different build-up now. So no longer has the Beast Heart component, and the recipe is 550 gold. So overall, it's cheaper. You can have 99 charges on this item. It has a cooldown of 8 seconds instead of 2 now, so you can't spam it as often. Let's see here. I think the bonuses might have been slightly reduced. And the healing on allies is a bit weaker now. It heals for 300 overall. The percentage is down. So the effective heal went down without taking damage by 60. Okay, so a lot of changes here. The changes aim to bring reliability to this item as an anti-healing option. Lowering its cost makes it more accessible to supports. Okay, so they want supports to be buying this item more often, which I like the concept of this. Which is reflected in its cheaper components as well and cheaper price point. So I think that's a pretty nice change. We could see a lot more Dreamcatchers now. Counter like healing heroes, but also just to have like a nice healing source. Next up here is Energizer. It grants unit walking, so that's new, but it's overall it's getting a nerf here. You cannot buff minions anymore. It only works on heroes and elite pets, so like Boo Boo, Malphus, those types of things. And you cannot stack them anymore. This is what Energizer immunity means, which I think is a good change because people were always spamming Energizers to push towers and stuff. So they're really toning down the emphasis on pushing towers in the early game. Also with this nerf, this is going to be part of a brand new item, Vitalizer. Okay, so we're going to have to pay attention to that. All right, the bracer change just gives a 1 magic armor. Not too much to talk about there. Nice little niche buff. I believe you can stack these, so every bracer you have will give you an extra 1 magic armor. Rostral plate, that's due to the amulet changes. Okay, nothing really to talk about there. So Genjuro. So with the change to the price point of Shroud, they've added Soul Scream Ring into this recipe to bump the cost back up, and then it is net cheaper by 160 gold. So Genjuro overall is cheaper. You're getting 5 more agility, 3 strength, 3 int, and 5 more attack speed. So actually this item got buffed overall. Cheaper and more bonuses all across the board. Next up is Guardian Ring, 25 gold cheaper. Okay, that's pretty straightforward. Fine for +2 armor. This item builds up into a lot of things. Health Flower is going to have a recipe now, so you cannot disassemble it. I think that's a fine change because this item is really strong, easy to build up because the Arcanas are very easy to buy. They're very cheap components. And also this is due to Abyssal Flower. Okay, that's fine. Lex Talionis. It's got new build-up. It's cheaper. I think it's 150 gold cheaper. Passively grants some damage, armor, gives intelligence. Has a charge system. Okay. So you gain the bonuses based on the charges. Okay. Yeah, okay, so hopefully this will make the item more viable. We weren't really seeing it too much. I think that's the goal here. A lot of text, but I'm not going to read it all. We will be here for hours if I read all of the text on all the items. All right, Mad Fred's Knuckles. Just 5 extra attack speed due to Soul Scream Ring, fine. Gnome's Wisdom here, getting a buff to the aura, just like the Abyssal Skull did. And its price was increased. Oh, but that's due to the Guardian Ring, so it cost the exact same. So it got a net buff for the aura, a little bit of the mana regen. Nullfire Blade. Charge increases by 20% the mana burn per hit. Additional mana burn 30, 40, 50. Increase mana burn per hit. So on second hit, 36, blah, 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 blah. At full charges, you're burning 54, 72, 90 per hit. Okay, so this item is getting a buff to kind of scale based on how many times you hit someone over 5 seconds. Alright, this is very interesting. I do think Nullfire was over nerfed from the last iteration where it was really strong. So this looks like it's a middle ground between the very strong Nullfire and the last patch Nullfire, which was underwhelming. So hopefully this makes the item more attractive and much nicer to pick up. That's the goal from what I read. Oblivion Hammer, these look like nerfs basically reflecting Brutalizer, and then the item costs more. Okay. Oblivion Hammer is a really strong item, so that's completely fine. Plague Greaves, nothing to talk about there. Post Haste, 5 movement speed increase, not big. Protected Talisman, another item cost. We're gonna see a lot of these types of changes where they're just in the notes due to like an item changing its cost. So here, like Guardian Ring. Okay. Psionic Hood, this is a new item. Shaman's Headdress, Nihil Crystal, and a recipe. So it costs 3,300 gold. You're getting a lot of the, you're getting mostly the Shaman bonuses plus the Nihil Crystal bonuses. Passive, cooldown 20 seconds, apply Psionic Boon whenever you take an instance of damage. So this is similar to how Protective Talisman works. And then the effects here, you regenerate 150 health and 70 mana over 5 seconds. Reduces basic ability cooldowns by 3 seconds instantly. Do not reduce abilities while remaining cooldowns lower than 3 seconds. Okay, that's pretty cool. I'm not sure what types of heroes want to pick this up other than maybe heroes that already want Shaman's Headdress. So I guess like this is an item for tanky heroes to buy that also want cooldown reduction in some shape, that have like long cooldowns, not short cooldowns. So I have not tried this item yet. I haven't seen it. This is going to be something to keep an eye on as far as like how impactful this new item will be. I actually not sure how to weigh this item in just yet. Refreshing Ornament getting a 100 cost reduction. Very nice, actually. The aura is a little bit weaker, but that's okay. Now you can buy this in laning phase again. We used to have a meta a long time ago where carries would always pick up Refreshing Ornament. But now, because it's cheaper, the supports who also want to build into Astrolabe can get this much faster. So I like this change, actually, a lot. This is an item that was kind of not really picked up very often. Alright, Ring of Sorcery, nothing really to talk about there. Ring of the Teacher. The mana regen aura got stronger. This is reflected in Gnomes and Abyssal Skull. Total cost reduced by 75. That's nice. You can buy this on laning phase on a lot of heroes now if you want. Alright, here's a big one. Sinner's Inscription. This was from 5.0. So if you played 5.0 at all or remember 5.0, you'll know what this does. It's Abyssal Skull plus Tablet plus Recipe. 3,800 gold. It buffs up the auras some more, gives more base damage. Basically, it's a stronger Abyssal Skull with a stronger tablet effect. Pushes 600 units. And applies slow or movement speed increase to allies if you want to use it on allies. It's a really nice item addition into the game. Very good on heroes like Bloodhunter and maybe Empath and some others. Okay. Sackstone getting a cost nerf by 250 here, so the supports have to work a little bit more towards this buffed healing to kind of slow down healing meta a little bit. Savage Mace, huge change here. I believe there's a typo here. This should read 4,800. Not a big deal though. But basically, this item got a huge cost reduction, and it also got a build-up change to reflect that. So Savage Mace is mostly a reactive item to Wingbow, and it was very expensive, so hard to react and counter Wingbows. Most of the time you wouldn't even want to buy this item. You would opt for a Wingbow yourself. So this change will, as it says here, motivate players to buy it because it's got a much better price point, and you could maybe buy it as like a damage source if you want versus just countering Wingbows. Sorcery Boots. Cost increase due to a recipe. You can't break this item to buy Icon anymore. That's a pretty big change. So if you're playing an Icon hero, you can't just go Mana Boots into Icon anymore. You have to make a conscious decision how you want to itemize. Alright, Soul Screaming, we're gonna skip that. Soul Trap. 200 cost less. Cooldown increased from 5 to 15 seconds. Now this only heals allies. Can't target enemies. So basically, the goal here is you want supports to pick this item up. You're not going to be able to pick it up on heroes like Chaconis, Bubbles, or like Madman to use it as like a extra damage source to gank and kill people, which I think is fine because now you can play a more variety of supports and have some kind of healing reliably. This is only 600 gold. It's not that much. So, and it can scale with 99 charges again. I like this change. I'm going to be interested to see how this one affects the metagame as far as like support role goes. But I tried it myself. It felt very nice. But it was only a very small sample size, so it looked okay so far from what I've seen. Like Bowler Grants on Magic Armor, fine. Starscry boots. Just based on all the other changes we've talked about, it's still the same price. Okay, so not tablet, 25 gold. Recipe is 25 gold more, but it's still the same cost. Thunderclaw, effect going up by 15 damage, recipe going down by 200 gold. Okay, Thunderclaw is not really bought very much, and this makes it a bit more attractive. It has a better on effect, and it costs less. Twin Blades, getting a build-up change, so it no longer requires the Arcana Broadsword recipe, I believe it was. Now it's just Phobo and Broadsword, so it auto assembles and you can break it. So like you could buy this on a melee hero that you would want the Twin Blade effect for, and then you can break it later for a wing bow if you want and use the sword for something else. Let's just say a Rift Shards. I don't know. I can't remember everything this item builds into. Or like I believe this builds into Shroud. You go like Shroud wing bow and just build a Twin Blade early game. Pretty nice. So it's got changes because of the Arcana being removed, and then it gives attack range to both ranged or melee heroes, but let's be honest, you're never buying this on a ranged hero, so it's kind of troll, because you don't get the effect, you only get the effect on melee. So the range is just there as like a QOL. Alright, new item, Vitalizer. Energizer plus a recipe, and then I believe what this does is, I'm not going to read all this, you basically get the old Energizer back, but with the unit walking, from my understanding. So basically they nerfed Energizer and they made it cost more and made a new item for it. Alright, next. Staff of the Master and Legacy changes. So before we get into any hero balance, we'll talk about staff effects. So Calamities, the cooldown got decreased. It now spawns a Firebomb in the center. This is the ultimate. And it also applies Restrained for 3 seconds. That is huge, actually. This is a really big buff. This is also a global spell. That's still part of the effect. So you can staff Calamity with a teammate, give her global 60-second cooldown ulti that restrains everyone in the area. Like, she can use this as like a ganking tool from across the map if she wants to. And then they get restrained and you get extra damage if they're in the center. That's pretty nice. Deadwood, you get a permanent tree on uproot, and you can throw it without losing the tree, and the attacks apply 50% cleave. Whoa. Every fourth attack now applies a mini stun to the main target. Alright, this is pretty cool. The old Deadwood staff was pretty useless. And now you have like a little bit of a farming mechanic. This hero kind of tapers off. I don't know how good this will be. Maybe it's not too bad. But maybe you'd still want somebody to give you this staff. But it's a pretty cool change. Devour. So again, he no longer has that long hook anymore. Now he's getting super decay. Grace radius on decay. It still increases while channeling. Gives minus 20 incoming healing. And channeling Devour decay damage is changed from magic to superior magic. Oh, that's cool actually. Yeah, I think that's not too bad. Devour. Oh, you get superior magic damage on Devour. That's also really good. So Devo with staff will be able to do some damage to shrunken or magic immune targets. I like it. Gauntlet gets atomic blast. You can shoot his fist in the air. Blah 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 blah. So, okay. I'm not really gonna read all this, but he basically gets like an AoE ultimate. He can choose a location and fires his fist there after 2 seconds delay. Revealed and stunned. This is really cool. I've seen what this looks like in practice mode. Haven't seen it in a real game yet, but it's a pretty nice staff effect, I would say, and it's way better than the very, very crappy one that he used to have. So I think this is a pretty viable staff effect. Gunblade, grappling shot. Increases the damage of the target by a little bit. Okay, that's not too much. Now fears all enemies within 650 radius within reaching the target for 1 seconds. I don't know how useful this is. It's like a baby Sandwraith ultimate. Not too bad. Not amazing. I don't think you're ever buying this on Gunblade. You need somebody to give it to you. Kane, staff reworked. Flies off as a defense stance. Oh, that's pretty cool. He gets both stances permanently with the staff. Aligns with the chain. Alright, so we have to wait for the balance on Kane to talk about that some more. Rally's Conquest. Places a flag on the ground for 14 seconds. Allows ally heroes to TP to it. It takes 5 seconds to... So this is kind of like a Nymphora effect. You pop a flag down somewhere and then teammates can port to you. So you're rallying them. That makes sense. I'm understanding the concept here. Alright. So you can max teleport 2 teammates per flag. Alright, that's cool. Succubus, cooldown reduced. Alright, looks like she's getting some balance changes later. Switch Slayer, Silver Bullet. Silver Bullet pierces all enemies in a line, dealing 15% less per additional target. All enemy heroes hit by the ability, if killed within 5 seconds, can grant an additional charge. Alright, now we're into regular hero balance. So Blitz gets a little buff on his pilfering leash range, that's fine. Lightning Shackles, cooldown reduced. Oh, this is a big reduction at the early levels. 80, 70, and it's a little bit increased at level 3, but let's be honest, 50 and 60 is not a big difference. Blitz emanates a lightning aura, which gives movement speed and attack speed to allies, it looks like. That's pretty nice. This is on the normal ultimate. Blood Hunter, Blood Crazy, this is the Q spell. Applies its effect in 300 radius around the main target. Okay. That's kind of cool. Little AoE silence. Bushwhack. Okay, this is big because this hero was very oppressive for a while. So he's getting a nerf to... Or no, sorry. He's getting a... He's getting a damage buff on his Q. No longer gives the mischance. Okay, that's good because that was pretty annoying. Normal attacks no longer reduce... I think his cooldowns. It no longer refreshes Spike Dart. Okay. The crit on his E got weakened by a bit. Most notably at levels 4 and 3. Level 1 and 2 is not too noticeable. Then it applies less charges of Jungle Toxin. No longer applies Jungle Toxin on Kongor. Okay, so he cannot solo Kongor anymore. Or it's a lot harder. Alright, these are some pretty decent nerfs. I'm not exactly sure how this will affect the power level Bushwhack, but overall this should slow him down a lot. Hopefully it's enough. Calamity, getting a better buff drain state at levels 1 to 3 of the passive E spell, and then damage buff on E. Not too significant, but it'll make the hero do some more damage output. Deadwood, 2 int increase, okay. Grasp impact is reduced. That's gonna make this easier to land. And the negative armor's unpurgeable state to magic immune targets. Okay. Deadwood getting some buffs here. Oh, you can pick up the tree and throw it faster, I guess. And Willowmaker has a little bit more cast range, so you don't have to be literally on top of them to punch them. Oh, that's cool. Deadwood getting some nice buffs. Engineer, Keg, mana cost increase. Turret, mana cost increase. That's fine. Zero's picked up a lot. Flux, a little bit of strength. Per level reduced. Okay. Small nerf. Unfortunately, I think the big issue with Flux is his ultimate is like not counterable, but it wasn't looked at all, unfortunately, or they couldn't fix that something. All right, next is Grinex. Base movement speed increased by 10. Shadow Step. Okay, actually, this is kind of significant. The stun duration on Shadow Step is much better. And this is one of the main reasons why you cannot dual lane this hero and he's played solo offlane. It's because his spells suck. So now that you can actually stun for 1.6 and, you know, it scales a bit better, you can actually dual lane this hero now, I think. I would be surprised if that's not the case, but having a 1.6 second stun or 1.8 second stun is much better than having a 1.3 or 1.5 second stun in your teammates' chances of reacting and chain stunning someone. So I like this. Rift stock getting a little buffed. Okay, it's just some small stuff here, but that's the change to his stun is pretty nice. Gunblade shield increased in duration. Movement speed was rescaled. But you could cast it if you're stunned or silenced at level 4, so he's got the arachnid treatment. I think that's nice. The hero is very weak. I don't know if honestly if these buffs are enough to make the hero much better, but it's a little small buff. I don't think the staff buff is, or the staff change is all that amazing either, but Gunblade is still kind of like a lackluster hero. Jarazai getting some mana cost increase on Inner Light and reduction of slow on Charm. Okay, yeah, he is overperforming a little bit. Oh boy, Kane. This is a lot of text. Don't know if I want to read all this, but I think basically what this is here is, so his stances got reworked. Crit is a bit weaker later, but better early. And then you'll get passive damage, mana regen aura. Defensive armor got nerfed, but you get magic armor in compensation. And I think these got added. You get regen and HP auto combat. So this is gonna be big if you have a staff pickup because you get both of these. Which is probably why the numbers got changed to what they are. They're not like overwhelming. Otherwise, the staff would probably make this hero nuts. A max target's attack damage reduced from 80% to 40%. Oh, so Kane gets more damage, but he steals less now. So he gets a little stronger, but the enemy also doesn't get crippled when they're under the effects of Steel Resolve. I like that, actually. This spell can be oppressive when the numbers are too high. Alright, face off. Now grants attack damage permanently upon defeating the target. Duration rescaled, so it's a little bit better at the lower levels and the same at level 3. Okay. It's fine. Kane is very underplayed. The buffs don't seem to push him into OP range, but I could be wrong. We'll have to see. Martyr, Retribution, increased radius. Now heals allied heroes within the radius for 40% of the damage zone. Okay, that's kind of a big change, because if he gets like a full damage nuke off, he can heal a lot. What's this? Holy Anguish, new sub ability. It really removes 30% of Martyr's current health. Okay, so this is to synergize with Retribution. Alright. Hand in hand, no one casts on ally heroes. Instantly purges, stuns, and debuffs and heals. Okay, yeah, that's fine. That's kind of nice. You can ulti and purge your teammates. It only works on one guy, so it's not like a Monarch ulti where it removes everything off everyone. Speaking of Monarch, funny I mentioned him, he's next. You get less movement speed from the ulti, and cast range is reduced. Okay, so you have to be more mindful of your positioning a bit better. Cyril's been so strong for so long. It's a good change. Myrmidon. Small quality of life buff. Not gonna talk about it. Pesty. 2 more intelligence. Okay, that's nice. He gets a little bit more mana pool. It's a hero that kind of starves on mana. Plague Rider. Earthblight. Oh, this is so good. This spell was very, very oppressive at like level 1, lasting for 4 seconds. cripples heroes like Hag and any hero that needs to like blink away and can't like fight you back early game. Alright, that's a good change. Scaling it much better. Rally. He's getting a lot of quality of life changes here. Mana cost on Compel, scaling, stun getting stronger at earlier levels, even at level 4. Roar. Pulls the enemy's hit 100 units toward rally. Oh, that's pretty cool actually. Alright. That gives us a little bit more utility because this spell is really terrible. And then Seismic Slam, increase cone cast range from 2 to 5. Whoa, okay. Improved to rally so good to make it feel more fluid and increasing the synergy visibility. Okay, yeah, so a lot of the times like you have to stun them from max range so you can land on top of them to slam them. So now you're getting longer stun and you're getting more radius on ult. So it's gonna be much easier to cast your compel and hit the slam without having to, like, if you're on top of them, like, walk back into them. Like, you can even pull them toward you. There's a lot of synergy now with the spells. I actually really like what they did with Rally. Revenant. Defile also reduces attack damage, attack speed, sorry, of the target by 15. Okay, very micro change. Riftwalker, you get bonus damage on Q if you hit more enemies. Cool. W. Can be cast on allies providing a shield based on distance travel. Whoa, that's different. The cooldown got increased though. Okay, this is max shield of HP. That's actually pretty cool. Alright, Riftwalker is a pretty solid hero already. Now he's getting a little bit more utility. Wormhole no longer requires zeros to blah 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 blah. Can release her ultimate by pressing R again. Ah, so you don't have to channel it the full 2 seconds anymore. You can blow it up early, but you get a weaker stun. Alright, that's all cool stuff. Scrap, man, I don't even want to talk about this hero. I hate this hero so much. Unleash 4x. No. Ability cooldown starts only when Vorax dies. Okay, that's much better. This hero is very oppressive. Hopefully that tones down his oppressiveness. Soul Reaper, probably one of the strongest heroes in last patch. Getting some mana cost increase back to Judgment. Huge mana cost increase. Well, I say huge, but late game it won't matter much. But the cooldown here, this is the big change. Getting 20 to 40 seconds on Withering Presence. This should tone down Soul Reaper's chase potential a lot. This hero is still going to do what he does though. Just a little bit slower. Should be good. Oh, this is a big change actually. And to be honest, I'm going to be honest with you guys. I had a lot of talks here and I had a lot of influence on these changes. I hope they hit the mark. So let's talk about Succubus, because I'm really hoping that this one hits home here. So she's getting bonus intelligence, bonus attack range from 500 to 575. Her Q is getting reworked to target an area now. And what it does is reduces damage output in the area. Enemy units, creeps, ancients, combo, everything gets affected, but it's weaker. And the duration is much less. Still has a pretty large cast range cooldown increase to 20 seconds. So this has more utility now than just targeting one player to reduce their damage. Heartache was changed from true to magic damage, so it'll be a bit weaker in terms of the damage output to enemies, but it will heal the same to yourself. Mana cost got rescaled. Okay, so you can spam it more early game, I guess. And that also, don't forget she got more intelligence, so she can use it more frequently. Mesmerize, big mana cost reduction here of 20 at level 1. And then 10, and then eventually it costs more, but that's fine. Here's going to be a big change. The ultimate is going to have a much shorter cooldown at all levels. This is why we saw in the patch notes earlier something about staff. So Succubus going to have her ultimate more frequently. Magic damage per second reduced by a lot. This is like effectively like 200 damage at level 1, 300, and then 400. So she's getting a huge nerf to her ultimate in compensation for buffs to all her other spells. So let's read the note here. Succubus has lost her identity as a hero over time, and these changes aim to push her away from a toxic, unscaling solo mid role into a team fight and pushing, disruption, disabling support hero. So the goal here with all these changes is to not allow her to be a good solo mid hero, which is where she's been notorious throughout HoN's history, and she's really frustrating to play against. So now instead, they're pushing the hero design into a support role, which I think makes a lot of sense. Similar to like a Witch Slayer or a Polywalk Priest. And then her mana costs were too high to accomplish this role. Her teamfight utility was too weak. With these changes to her 3 basic abilities, we're toning down the overall damage of her ultimate. Alright, obviously I'm a bit biased here. I'm going to say I like this because I had a lot of influence on these changes. So I'm just going to say that I hope these changes are going to make the hero more viable and picked up. And I hope there are some healthy changes for the game. And if they don't hit the mark, hopefully we can look at them in the future and work on them some more. Alright, spent a lot of time on that one. Let's go to Madman now. Stock gets an overall mana increase, a little bit less at level 1, but Berserk also getting a mana cost increase, but it's now going to give movement speed on top of the attack speed. We aim to place Madman War as a hard carry. Currently, sorcery boots followed by Dreamcatcher builds make the hero strong early game and reduces back to this. Yeah, so you can't really go Soul Trap on Madman anymore because it doesn't work on enemies. So that's going to change as well. And then more mana cost on Stock and Berserk. Okay. Madman's a very commonly picked up carry. Vindicator. Sage's Lore is going to disarm more at all levels or for longer. Master's Incantation, mana cost decreased. Bonus true damage is increased slightly. Now Vindicator hits a silence target. Mana is burnt per hit. Oh. Okay. That's interesting. Glyph of Silence. Okay. Vindy is getting some small buffs here and there. Looter Jester, Acid Cocktail, the first stun up to 1.5. That's good. Now the first bounce prioritizes enemy heroes. Okay, that's nice. You get a little less RNG on the Acid Cocktail. Mojo has cast range increased. Curse Ground, cast range increased. Base increased by a bit. Okay. Damage per instance rescaled. So it's stronger at levels 1 and 2, weaker at level 4, and the same at level 3. Okay, yeah, the lower levels of Curse Ground are pretty bad. Witch Slayer, starting strength increased by 2. That's nice. In addition to the previous effects, now enemy heroes killed within 5 seconds grants 1 charge that each increase the ability damage by 25. Improvements to address his extremely low HP pool early game. Okay, wow, so if you kill a lot of players with Silver Bullet, your Silver Bullet's going to get pretty strong. Okay, I mean 25 doesn't seem like a lot, but it might add up over the course of a long game. That probably makes Staff of the Master a lot more attractive as well on the Witch Slayer, which we almost never see. Have to keep in mind that that can also go through Magic Immunity when you have a staff. So it got the buff to do like that AoE line thingy with reduced damage to targets, but pretty interesting change. I don't know how impactful this will be. It doesn't sound like it'll be that impactful, but it could be in longer games. Alright, and then the rest is just some new avatars. We got one for Berserker, Bramble, Magnus, and Madman, and Wretched Hag. Oh, it's actually a lot. I'll have to check those out. I actually haven't checked the avatars out in the store. And then we got some bug fixes. I'm not gonna go over that stuff. Alright, so I tried to go through this as quickly as possible because I know a lot of my other patch analysis videos have been very long, so I apologize if I didn't talk about stuff like read everything out or talk about everything in like a large amount of detail, but you know you can always pause the video and read through all of the bullet points if you feel I missed something that you wanted to see. So I hope you guys enjoyed this HoN Patch Analysis video here for version 4.13.0, and I hope you enjoy playing on this patch. Thank you all for watching and have a good day.